Hey, good evening, guys. Welcome to another JL Joseph Live. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I'm representing my Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Don't mind the little mark right in the middle of the right there. Don't mind that. That's from eating food because everything tends to line up right here. But I'm representing this evening. We're about to get started. We have an exciting show for you, like always. And I am so happy to be joined this evening by the WA or the Waitikubuli Art Association. Got three members joining me in a few seconds. And we're going to be talking about their new video, which just recently launched. If you haven't checked it out, by the end of this, you're gonna want to check it out. You're gonna want to go on and check it out. It's available on YouTube already. So I'm gonna be just bringing them on and not making no long conversation, no long talk. Make sure you share the live, click that link and hit share. It's available on Facebook and as well as on YouTube and on Digicel. So you can get it on Digicel as Facebook as well. There's a watch party that just got started. So if you want to run over on Digicel, I don't know, Digicel might just have something extra for you all this evening. I don't know. Who knows? You never know with Digicel. They're always there with you. So I want to big up Digicel for making this possible. And without no further ado, I'm just going to bring them up right about now. And I will give them a little intro and we'll get this party started. It's going to be a slightly different than we normally do. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hi.
what's up?
I am good. Okay, I'm just gonna have to change one person's name. Let me just change it right now because it's the wrong name. I have the wrong name. Somebody. Yes, fix. You have fat fingers. Thank you guys for being on. And I'm going to start, and we're just gonna introduce you guys quickly. We have the lady right below me on the screen. Ladies first. Hello. So I want to
Hello.
say Lena Eugene, who is an amazing artist. She is you do jewelry and paper mache, right?
Jewelry and sculpture.
Gosh. I was like, don't screw this up, JL. I am going
That's
strictly off.
okay. Paper mache sculpture is mostly for now. Starting
Yo,
off.
I was going strictly off of okay? So I was like, oh gosh, don't mess this up. And then we have two above, right on the next side of me, yes, this way. We got Michael Lee's phenomenal filmmaker, director, and so much more. Hi, Michael.
What's up? What's up?
Good, good. There's a bit of a delay, Michael. I thought I had so much energy, and then I was like, okay, Michael's blowing my high. Okay. Welcome, Michael. And below Michael, you have Edward, who's the PRO of WA, right? Did I get it right?
Co-PRO, along with Michael up there.
Co-PRO. So they're double whammy. And also an artist and a dancer. Hi, Edward.
How's everyone doing?
Well, everyone's good. If you're asking me, as everyone.
I'm great.
What happened? You're great. You think she answered right? You're good. You're good. Everybody's good. Everybody's good. Yes, yes, guys. Thank you very much. And don't forget to share the live. Thank you very much for joining us. It's so good to have you guys on. Very first time Wa joins me here on JL Joseph Live. And we're going to get into the conversation right away because you guys have just launched a video and it's entitled Race and Racism video exhibition. And I want to kind of get a little idea as to why you guys decided to do this. And we can just vibe. We're mostly going to be talking freely because I don't think I want to feel this out like an interview because with all of what's going on around the world, I mean, just 2 days ago, another Black man got shot 7 times in the US, 7 times. And those of you, if you saw the video, brutal. Like viewer discretion is advised, and everything else that's going on in the world as it relates to race. And I feel like there's a target on our backs as Black people. We have 2 Black men here with us. I have 2 Black men, little boys that I am terrified for, which is why they will remain Dominica. So let's get this conversation started. Why did you guys decide? I think I'll probably start off with Michael, to kind of open up the conversation because you played an integral role in the development and production behind this entire video, or I should say, like short film, somewhat.
Yeah, I guess our video exhibition, however you want to call it. I think one of the things, as everything has been playing out in the United States and the UK and everywhere else, even though we have a distance from it in the Caribbean, I think it's still impossible to really separate yourself from it. And as Black people, as people that either have lived in these countries or have family that are in these countries, or even if not, you just can identify with the pain and the injustice. And we thought as an organization, it was an extremely important topic, basically to stand up for human rights, to give our voices, to give a slightly different perspective, and share our voices as Caribbean people and bring the conversation to the Caribbean.
Edward, you want to chime in? Or Lena, whoever? This is a free conversation. For me to ask all questions, eh? Talking.
Sure. It was very important for us to get a conversation going from, as Michael said, from a perspective as Caribbean people, as Dominican people, because it's so easy being in the Caribbean to sort of separate yourself from what's happening in America. Like, no, that's their business, that's their issue for them to deal with. But nowadays we live in such a globalized society. I mean, look at this right now. Like, Jail, you're in Canada right now. It is a hard thing to avoid. It's a problem that we're all going to have to deal with at some level. If it's a family member, if it's a friend, if it's you that is in a different country. And I think it's important that we get the conversation started now before it is an issue that has arrived on our doorstep and we know nothing about it and we don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, that has been something we've been quiet about. And we do maybe not have racism as blatantly as in the US or in Canada, but we certainly do have problems with colorism. And that is something that, Caribbean people in general, just needed to have a little more insight into.
I totally agree with you guys. I've always had a problem with how we Caribbean people responded to the whole Black thing, or being Black in the Caribbean, or even as it relates to white people, or how we even see white people. I've had my views on it. I've said somewhat. I feel like we sensationalize it a lot. In the Caribbean, we think that white people are. We actually may not think it, but we act like they are superior to us. And in the Caribbean, especially where tourism is a thing, is a big deal in the Caribbean, and if not so, we get treated very poorly. And we don't realize that we're being treated poorly because we think that we're just doing our jobs, and it's and if you have to compare the treatment versus how the same people treat Black people even overseas, like probably people who work with them, it's completely different, and I always I think because I lived in both worlds and I lived comfortably in both worlds, I always had a problem with it. And I remember something as easy happening to me in Dominica, something as easy as being on the beach in a swimsuit and walking into a restaurant that was right next to the beach and being told that I need to cover up. And I watching and I seen like somebody else who was obviously not Black in a swimsuit, and I'm like, is it because I have cellulite? Like all these things were going through my mind. I'm like, why am I? Because I really didn't want it to be, is it because I'm Black? I'm like, it's impossible for it to be because I'm Black. Because I'm in Dominica, I'm in my country, like, hello, what's going on? What's happening there? And it happens to all of us. And like, you mentioned, the whole colorism thing. I'm the darkest shade in my family of siblings. And I've been called the Black sheep. Yes, I've been called the Black sheep in Dominica.
So
I've never been called that in Canada. So
I think one of the funny things is, after living in a certain system or worldview so long, people end up internalizing it. So let's say in Dominica, right? two examples I can think of. One, I have white friends who have told me, especially years back, how almost uncomfortable it was of like people would always refer to them as Mr. and like almost put them up in a way that they didn't want to be or expect to be at all. And then the other is, as many of you may know, I'm a interracial kid. So my mom is black, my dad is white, and it's been interesting. Even you go to certain restaurants, right? And usually it should be women get served first. But even here in Dominica, my dad would be the one that got served first. And you could watch it happen repeatedly so many places we go. And again, my dad is a very sort of chill guy. But again, there's things that he misses that my mom picks up on. Is like, you see, every time this is what's going on. So these things run deep. They've been going on for so long. We essentially live in our Western world is essentially a white run world. And even as things change, certain things that have been ingrained for so long take a long time to really get fleshed all the way out.
Edward, you went to school in a different country away
Yeah.
from. As a black man, did you ever come across any instances where you were treated differently because of the color?
So it was nothing ever to my face. And it was nothing ever extremely explicit or violent. But there were times when, let's say, I would go through like a Walmart and I could tell that the people of color, like, I'm walking down an aisle and like the older white women or the older white men or even young people, people around my age would be uncomfortable just because I was there. Like all of a sudden they were like looking at something on this side and they saw me coming and they kind of like froze up and then like trying to side so they wouldn't be in my line. I caught a bus one time and there was this guy. He looked like an old army veteran because he had the camouflage cap on, and he was just kind of staring me down for about 20 minutes as we're going on this ride. And in my head, I'm like, I wonder what his issue is. Like, is it because I'm black? Because I'm foreign? Is it the locks? Which part of me do you not like, sir? Because I was having a great day. But it's never been something as far as like somebody goes off and almost the N-word to my face or anything, nothing like that. I haven't had these kinds of experiences, obviously.
I got that once with a drunk guy I was arguing with, but again, it's usually more interesting and subtle. One was a fraternity, and it's a white fraternity, and they don't really have many black members, but they like to have a few token minorities. And this guy, in trying to ingratiate himself to me, was saying, you should really join our fraternity. You're not like other black people. And I'm like, this is supposed to make me want to join your stupid little club. You know what I mean?
That's supposed to be an honor. Jesus.
Right? Exactly. And then the other one that was a little more, so there was a guy I made friends with in one of my political science classes, and he was in a fraternity, and we got friendly and started talking. And he point blank told me, no malice from him, but he point blank told me that his fraternity, the alumni donors, point blank said that if they let blacks into the fraternity, they would stop donating money. So right now we're at a stage where all of this stuff is bubbling up and people really know what it is and people are saying what's on their minds. But all of this stuff was kind of bubbling right under the surface this whole time. It's just not polite to say it out loud,
Now, Michael, I'm interested to know because you are, like you said, a mixed race.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's so weird when you stumble on these, like to say what you have to say to be politically correct because you don't want to offend anybody.
You can say mutt.
Well,
That to us. Is that too much?
I said mutt.
You know,
It's just a local term.
so your dad's white, your mom's black. Like you obviously you're black. I mean, that's at least what I see.
Mm-hmm.
You may tell people or you may introduce yourself as a mixed kid, but nobody cares about that because they only care about what they see, right? How do you feel about knowing what is going on, with with the black side of your family versus the white side of your family? Like, how does it make you feel? Because it make me feel like I'm stuck in the middle. Like,
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think over the years, my dad especially has become quite conscious of everything that's going on. He's quite aware, especially of the situation in America. Um, I had a way that I would answer this though. You asked me how is it different between the two different sides. I don't know. I guess, like I said, yeah. On the one side, it's learning. On the other side, it's knowing everything has been going on and been like, yeah, this is what it is. But I think what's interesting, and even if there's that new movie coming out, Black, was it the Black Messiah, Judas and the Black Messiah?
yes,
Right.
that's a movie.
So that there's actually a documentary about Fred Hampton, who it's based on, who was a Black Panther activist, and that documentary you can find on YouTube, and it's really interesting seeing him talk, basically saying, it doesn't really matter what color someone is. There are allies across the spectrum. There are people with hearts that understand what the situation is. So it's also important for us not to get carried away and be like, all right, you're a different race, you can't understand, because that's not really it's about. It's about having empathy and understanding. And if you're an ally, you're an ally. You stand for what's right.
I don't know if you want to chime in on what your views are. You talk about Michael talks about being an ally, but I've had white friends message me and they're like, what do I do? And I don't even know what to tell them to do, even as a Black person. What do I do to make you feel better? Or what can I do to somewhat show that I'm an ally? Do I go crazy and start posting on Facebook, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter? What do I do? Like, what do you guys think is acceptable? Or what would you accept as personally if you had friends, or like in your case, Michael,
if we had friends.
Well, if I had, for me, if I cannot talk about being in your situation, Michael. I've never really studied overseas. I've not been exposed to racism in that aspect. But I mean, if you're willing to have an open mind and try to learn about my history, my culture, why I've been going through this and that, try to at least meet me halfway, have an open mind, and then for me, that's a start. That's a good start.
Agreed.
And I can accept that.
When this whole thing started, I'm gonna tell you guys plain out. I was very uncomfortable on one. Like I remember walking in to my friend's house, who was having a barbecue, and although we were supposed to be social distancing, but I was at his barbecue, and two white girls walked in, and I was just like, I literally I went into my chair, and it wasn't because of COVID, it was because they were white. Right? I literally sunk into my chair, and the two other people who were there, because there were not even 5 people, at the barbecue. But another person that was there, they realized my demeanor changed, because I'm very outspoken, loud, boisterous, and I just went silent like a lamb. And came up to me and was like, "Are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you good or whatever?" I was like, I kind of don't want to be here right now. Right?
We are at this point where why should we have to feel uncomfortable when another race walks in the room?
See, yeah, and that's interesting because the way you're describing feeling and acting as two white people walk into the room is the way
how they feel.
a person would feel if two Black people walked into a room at that same barbecue. It's like, oh, they're here. I really don't want to be.
A part of me, even after I realized that they were really nice people, and I didn't have to feel that type of way, a part of me still felt like, well, you don't know how it feels, because I was honest that that's how I felt, and they actually revealed that they felt awkward, not awkward that they were walking in because I'm Black, but awkward because of what was going on and not being able to to like one of them said, when I walked in, I just wanted to hug you, you know, and I was like,
Aw.
but if she had tried
Right.
in that moment though, she had tried, should I get a box?
It's
Oh
Oh,
like
no.
it's like when a friend has like experienced a loss, but you don't know how to approach it. You don't know if you bring it up, we say sorry for your loss, or we just kind of pretend it's not there. Like
yeah.
we're
Except
always gonna.
except it's worse because the dynamic of like a friend um immediately like puts on you that you should do something as opposed to, hey, there's this stranger,
Mhm.
Yeah,
because this larger social thing is happening and impacting them.
yeah. Sorry for your
You
people.
know what to do.
I know. It's like, yeah. So I mean, eventually, as the night progressed, we got into conversation, and I learned that one of them was married to a black guy, and yes, and she was explaining, how scared she is every day when her husband leaves the house. How a few times he's left his driver's license behind, by accident. Left his wallet, and she would like chase him down to try and give it to him because she's like, you don't want to get pulled over. It's gonna be worse. And like she was explaining, some things that she would do, to kind of help. Like she should go ahead of everything. So if they're in line waiting for something, she'd go ahead. If they get pulled over by a cop, she'll do all the talking. Like it was
It,
like
That's
yeah,
real. That's real.
it's it's a weird thing that's like things that you have to consider and then like acclimate yourself for in order to deal with. Because I was telling Mikey, I think one time we were talking that before this project, before working on the piece that I did, that I had to like get up and see an image of like a police officer doing what he did to George Floyd. I had not considered that being a part of my reality at all. It was just a thing in the background in America, but to like have to wake up every day and see it and have to accept that as something that I have to accept before like I leave my house. I cannot imagine that. For example, as a black person growing up in the Caribbean, my parents have never had to have the conversation with me how to be around police officers, how to be as non-threatening as possible so that you don't get shot.
I think we're fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah. And
Like in Dominica, the Dread Act is still in our constitution. A police officer could shoot me on sight with zero repercussion because of these locks. But I'm not afraid for my life.
you say that,
Yeah, not
you
because,
say that, and that's a situation.
yeah, it is.
yeah.
It is scary stuff when you think about it. But I did not grow up in a society where is the literal reality. Like, it's there, but it's not being enforced. Like nothing will solve it. But if I have to deal with that every day and leave my house thinking that today might be the day I get pulled over and get shot, it's horrible. Nobody should have to live like that.
And so there's that very influential black writer philosopher Webb Du Bois who talks about double consciousness. And when I stumbled upon that idea, I was like, finally, I have a framework to understand what's going on. And the idea is basically you have your idea of yourself and who you are, and then you also have the idea of who white society and everyone else thinks you are, and you kind of have to walk around with these two different ideas of yourself, and it is a pain in the ass. And I will say 100%, like that is something that I'm very thankful to be back in Dominica versus America for, because it's one of those little things that
My bad.
Yeah, we'll mute you up for a second.
it's one of those things that is just, it's not massive, it's just sort of just this little nagging thing every time you walk into a space, but over time it's wearing all the time, because it's like you have to watch how you're performing for other people. And so being back home, it's like, okay, you can just be your whole regular self again.
Now you guys decided that you're gonna do this project. And yes, all of this is going around the world, all of this is happening. Um, you like in your case, Edward, your piece had to do with George Floyd. Even you like speaking about it, it brings back bad memories for me. Like I remember when that video first came out, I cried until cold come out in my nose. Like it was that bad. And the last time I cried until cold come out in my nose was when my dad died, which was 2011. Right? I felt so much emotions, and it was like, and just recently, they released the best footage, of what actually happened. And it took me 2 days before I could actually go watch it because I was really scared, not just for scared to watch it, but scared of how it would make me feel
I
because I was depressed for like 3 days after watching the first video.
Yeah, no, I understand that. When the whole George Floyd thing popped off, I actually kept myself really well insulated from it because I knew if I saw it, I would not be able to not feel. So I wasn't online a lot. I didn't keep up with any of the posts. I didn't want to hear about it just because I knew it would have been a problem. And then the opportunity came with this project for me to get involved and see what it's all about. And then I watched the video and I I couldn't help but think that anybody who would say anything against the Black Lives Matter movement at that point did not see this. Because there's no way you could watch a 9 minute long video of one man killing another man with like on the basis of race and think that, no, it's just the system, it's just a cop and who we thought was a criminal. Like there's no way you could watch that and think that it had anything to do with anything apart from the fact that it was a big black man and a police officer who was white.
You guys have
I
brought
mean,
up
I saw that and I saw that video and I know it made me angry. I was really angry. I felt this bubbling, burning anger inside. How can this be happening on a regular, like, oh, just every other day in the US, in other, countries? I mean, how do people live like that? Why are people so evil? And it did make me want to just ignore social media for a while. Because like you see that, every other video is some police brutality. It's some black man getting shot or being harassed for anything, for stupidness.
and then they get put on administrative leave.
And then they get
Paid administrative
slap on
leave.
the wrist.
Like, listen, this video came out, it surfaced, everybody saw it, and I'm still upset at the level at which like things had to escalate socially for them to do anything about it. What was it? Every state and another 14 countries around the world had to have protests. Really? For the Supreme Court to know that that was the wrong thing that happened? It's maddening. Like that, and they're like, you know what? We should probably do something. I don't know.
Well, you see, it happened again, like even 2 days ago. I mean, it happened a few times after that.
It's
But
been happening, but that's just what we know.
2 days ago, like 7 times, and the man's not even the man was not even facing them to say, okay, they could have said or justified. He might have had a gun, so he was probably aiming to shoot me at his back 7 times, paralyzing the man. And like, if I had to probably be devil's advocate just watching the video and watching him walk through around the vehicle, and you could have tell the conversation that was going on. It was like, I don't want to be part of this. I'm going in my car. Like, I'm done. And all of a sudden, 7 shots, and you're wondering like, why? And the police, they go on national TV, like just before this program started, I was looking at a clip, and they were like, it's like the same process every time. Like there's no change. And I'm just like,
Honestly, I don't think change is something that's gonna happen. Like maybe not next year. I think
But like,
it's
my
something you have
question
to
is,
train
what will
to
it
raise
take?
your children into. You have to raise your children into that, mentality of accepting other people. So being so racist and hateful to other people that don't look like you.
But why is
Because
it
it's all conditioning. That's how children are grown into that, kind of mindset. And that's why we still see it a lot today.
You're asking a question, Joe?
Yeah. Or what? I'm wondering, like, why is it so hard to accept people of color?
Well, I would say old habits die hard.
Very.
So if you have a whole society that is built on or was built on the idea that black people are subhuman and therefore can be have labor extracted out of them at no cost to build everything, then overnight it's not easy to say, oh wait, we did that, but all of a sudden we're going to say they're human and they're the same as us. It's not going to happen. I think even just for your own moral sanity, you can't go ahead and say that. And then from there, you obviously have the massive wealth inequality that's built, and then you essentially have this fear because there's this idea that this is a poor, dangerous black person who wants to steal what you have. And then you have all these other sorts of ideas that go on are piled on top with ideas of class separation. When at the end of the day, of course, the biggest con is that the white working class and the black working class have much more in common than the white elite and the white working class. And so what is always done and is as a tactic tried and true is to just kind of promote separation and division amongst the bottom ranks while everyone at the top continues with business as usual. To be honest, we all know that's how basically every authoritarian state is built. You demonize one group, whether it's the Jews, the blacks, some other tribe, and all of a sudden you have Hitler. You have, let me not say any more names, but you see where I'm going.
So now you guys did this video, and you have a few people. I'm interested to know, was it like something that you decided all of you are gonna contribute, or it was just a matter of you? I'll contribute. I'll do something. Like how? What was the thought process behind the whole creation aspect and coming up with the theme and how you were going to actually do this?
I was really emotional about the George Floyd video that I had seen. So that was already a big step for me. More so, I say, let me try and figure out, yeah, we don't have this blatant racism in the Caribbean, in Dominica, but we certainly have colorism, and it is a problem. So I said, let me just try to do something, raise awareness, have my own opinion, have a voice on all of this. And yeah, I mean, it just chose the occasion to do that.
What the other?
Sorry, did I come through? Or
You did.
okay.
You did. So you have a few people who did a few presentations on the video. We're gonna share the video so that folks who have not seen it yet can have an opportunity to see it. So we're gonna share that with you guys. But I want to take it before we do. I want to take it to the Caribbean because we've spoken a lot about outside of the Caribbean. And we spoke a little bit about what goes on in the Caribbean, but in terms of as Black people in the Caribbean, what can we do? Yeah, because we kind of say that's not our problem. It's happening to the U.S. and we forget that a lot of us have family in the U.S. that are Black. I hope friends in the US, and it seems to be like almost isolated to North America. Like that is the only place that racism is happening. It seems like at least the mainstream media has allowed it to seem that way. That it's their problem. It's happening now. And you guys hope well, at least one of what you're trying to achieve is to show that it's happening everywhere and we should be part of it. And why did you guys decide to say, hey, we gotta need to be part of this? We need to shed some light on this.
Well, I would say personally for me, I did not shy away from social media. I dove in. I took the opportunity to learn more and to share that with people I'm connected with. Also, I think, we have some countries that are mostly black run, but that's not the case throughout all the Caribbean. There's still many countries that are still essentially colonial. And then we even have the case of Kenny Mitchell, who was a Dominican working in Anguilla, who was killed by a white investment banker, and he has still not been brought to trial. So we still are going to be experiencing all those things. Those things are not isolated. They spill over. At the end of the day, America may be sort of like the center of the empire right now, but the ripples that happen there are felt everywhere else. So I think it would be naive to think that we are separate or immune from anything that's going on there. And I would also bring up the fact that, or the idea that it's not only white people that can be racist. We live in a power structure that is white dominated, so we see that more. But pretty much in every country you go, whoever's in charge, that group is usually racist to the minorities. And even our artist Chase Lawrence, who's featured in the video, mentions racism that he has seen towards Kalinago brothers and sisters, towards Haitians. And so I think it's very easy to point the finger all the time. But racism, I'm not talking about institutional racism, but racism as in prejudice based off of race, it's something built into us. We're tribal as animals, as humans. And so it takes us kind of tapping into our higher selves to overcome that instinct.
Do you think Black people cannot be racist?
Absolutely not. I do
Oh,
not
what?
think.
No, who said that?
I'm sure that people are going to argue this, and I've had this argument lots of times, because a lot of people think that racism is equivalent to institutional racism. And it's just going to be a difference of how we define things. I define racism as prejudice based off of race, and then institutional racism is when that is then in your institution. But to me, racism is prejudice based off of race, and I think we have all seen Black people be very racist on more than one account all the time.
Even the kind of xenophobia that comes along with people coming into a country from different countries, the kind of things that people shout at the Chinese workers that we have in Dominica, the Haitians that we have, the Dominicans, the small population that we have right now, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was on a bus coming home the other day, and we happened to pass a Chinese worker. There's the driver and the guy in the front seat. The guy in the front seat decides to stick his head out the window and like mock Chinese at the stranger that he passes by on the street. Why does he feel like that's right? Why is that funny? Why do it?
That is so immature. And I'm a teacher at Goodwill Secondary School, and I have a lot of Asian students. And I mean, it's to hear how they interact with them. You're stupid Asian, you're this, you're that. And I have to, really come down on them and to be like, don't do that, don't say that. Put them on punishment. I have no patience for that. But yeah, we do. Certainly, Black people, we are very prejudiced against other races, for a fact.
Yeah.
Do you think somewhat like something because we kind of inherited all of the because we're so accustomed. Why are you shaking your head? Why are you shaking your head?
Because what was the idea that Michael mentioned it at the Justice for Kenny rally? Otherism.
Yes.
Otherism is a human thing. It's got nothing to do with us as Black people trying. For example, I'm sure your point was about to be that maybe we've internalized seeing those differences in people and rebounding it back on society. No. In as much as any society forms, there will always be something or someone that you feel is the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how like groups form among themselves. And so as soon as the enemy comes around, somebody that's not you act towards them. It's not right. And I think humanity would be a lot better if we celebrated our similarities over our difference. And even if we acknowledge our differences, if we celebrated those differences instead of making it a bad thing. If Dominicans had Chinese people over, trying to understand their culture and trying to understand who they are as individuals, as opposed to seeing them as this other thing that we have to now push out of our society because they're going to take over or something. Take our exactly. Jobs. That's sorry.
We say that though, eh? You know, we don't hear Dominicans say that. Oh, patients taking all our jobs. They're taking up all our jobs in the market. I've heard it. I've heard it.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's very just listening to just listening to what you were saying, even speaking about otherism, and like I've had my issues with even now you see a lot of organizations are trying now to be as inclusive as possible. It's almost like they're working on eggshells, like let's count how many black people we got in this joint, like, and then all of a sudden, like I get all of these emails, for example, I just got an email a couple weeks ago from the Toronto Star. We're now looking for black writers, blah blah blah, and like so I responded, of course, being as controversial as I love to be. I wrote a long paragraph about why would it be othered, because I felt now that you're only doing it now because it's like there's almost like a revolution happening where you feel to some extent you might lose your following, you might lose your viewership, you might be considered as racist. So why are you doing this now? Why didn't you do it before? And even some black people in positions of power who were silent for years, not saying anything when they saw their black colleagues being treated wrong, not doing it because they wanted that come up or that upper up, and not saying all of a sudden everybody wants to speak out about it. And sometimes I catch some kind of feelings about it. I'm like, I want to call you out on it, but at the same time, I'm like, but if they're trying, like, you should just let them try. Like, what do we do when, like, how do you respond when the dynamics are changing, or do you just not respond?
I just thought of a great idea. I feel like you should be very polite and everything, and just say, it would be great if you could just answer this questionnaire, so I can get a feel of your genuineness, so I don't feel othered. So I don't feel othered when I come to your workplace, because you want to set such a great working relationship and everything else like that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, because like you've been singled out. It's like they're trying, like there was a call for companies to state how many black people they hire or they have employed. They don't do that here in Canada. They want to know, and it's like accountability. I mean, Canada has been known to be a diverse community for the most part. However, you find the people in the roles for change or managerial roles or executives are usually white. And it's like everybody's like, well, we want, and then you saw people like what's her name? Serena Williams, her husband, the former owner of Reddit, Alex, whatever his name is, or I can't remember his name. But he stepped down because he's like, I'm gonna step down from my position, and that position should be filled in by a black person. It's like you're still thinking to yourself, like, why you didn't step down a long time? Like you marry a black woman.
Yeah. And I ended up at a networking event with Caribbean filmmakers and stuff. And one of the things, I'm frozen?
No, I am.
I was saying, so I was with a networking event with Caribbean filmmakers, and there was a lady who was in England, and one of the things she was saying is all these companies are calling for diversity and everything else like that, but a lot of senior black producers and directors and whatever, they're not getting offered jobs that match their work experience and credentials. So sure, they might be employing 20% black people, but if they're not employing anyone at the position that they deserve to be at, then what good is that really?
Guys, interesting conversation. You know, we're gonna. I wanna premiere the video here on Jail Joseph Live. It's already out on YouTube. For those of you who would like to probably look at it after the fact. So it is available on YouTube, but we're gonna run it here. So we're all gonna jump into the lobby for just a little bit while we run this new video exhibition that has just been launched by WAT as Waitikubuli Arts Association. I don't know, Yena, you wanna be the one to introduce it, or yeah, I'll let you. I'll put myself in the lobby and I'll give you all the leeway to do the introduction of the video.
Wow. I don't know what to say.
Come on, just introduce it.
Okay, so this is a video done by WA, the Waitikubuli Artists Association. It's our racism video compiled by a few of our artists. So I hope you enjoy.
It's actually doing work. It just felt like a free piece. Like the piece practically drew itself.
The Waitikubuli Artists Association got inspiration from recent events like what happened to George Floyd in America. We artists decided to come together and put some meaningful artworks together and present it in a video form.
My piece is called The Amalgamation of Cultures. In my piece, that's what I wanted, that we can see all the beautiful things of each race, each culture, whether it's food, it's art, it's music. It comes together to make something beautiful. Each race brings something to the table. And without all those different races, you know, life would be dull.
The inspiration for my piece was the George Floyd murder. Why I did my piece on this still of one man killing another was because I think it's important that people actually see it. Through my artistic expression, through doing this piece, through shining a harsh light on the reality of the situation, people will have to look. It's why I named it Don't Look Away. Because you have to watch it, you have to know that this is happening and that this is a problem.
I kept hearing things like, you have nice hair for a dark-skinned person, and every time that I would be given a compliment about my looks or something, it would always have to be thrown in that you're this, but you're dark-skinned. The inspiration for my piece was from an image that I saw of a black boy hugging himself. I just remember stopping and looking at it and being in awe, because that was the first time that I saw a young black boy appreciating himself, and you could tell that it wasn't just him, it was him and his dark skin. A lot of the times you don't see things like that, so I knew that I had to draw it.
I think there is racism in Caribbean. It's not really black and white because we are generally black people, but like when I was going to school, I could see racism towards Kalinagos. And when I grew up a bit older, yeah, though we are all black, but you can feel racism against the Haitian people in it. I really want the viewer to realize that the color of the skin doesn't change the color of your blood. At the end of the day, we all bleed red.
I have family members who reside in the US and different parts of the world who experience racial profiling on a daily basis. The inspiration for my piece really and truly came from Lauryn Hill's album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. The redness in the figure in my piece represents the rawness and the tension that Black people have been feeling throughout everything.
Art is one of the ways that people use to express themselves. So art basically helps voices that cannot be heard to be heard from different places. I like to not see Black people mainly portrayed as like thugs and drug dealers and so on, but just as regular people.
You know, it's about time we see a shift away from, you know, Black is ugly, Black is stupid, Black is weak. it's good to see that Black people are now owning themselves and, you know, have that sort of appreciation and that empowerment. I use paper mache to form the features on the face and also to form the flaking background. And the flowers, I did those separately.
As a gamer, I was inspired by Link from The Legend of Zelda. And Link is a light-skinned fairy hero. And he's very powerful. And I saw the need for us to have more people of color being represented in video games as heroes and in the movies because of all the whitewashing that we have going on.
In the future, I do hope that we become even more accepting. I think when it comes to the point where no one is judged because of the color of their skin or because of where they come from and see the actual person rather than that, I think that is where we need to be.
It would just be nice to live in a world where everything is not so segregated by race and, you know, people can just get along.
Because we have the tools, we have the internet, we have social media, we can connect with people from different cultures, that can help us change that and unbrainwash ourselves to be more compassionate, more aware of other people's circumstances and the situations, to break the stereotypes and everything so that we can evolve as people.
I was looking for you. I lost you for a second. I couldn't find you. I'm like, where am I? Good job. Really, really good job on the video. Those of you who are on our social media, those of you who are logged on, you could share your comments. Feel free. Rosalind is saying this video is very inspirational, just beautiful. I'll put up what she's saying just so everybody can see. So that's what she's saying. So if you're on and how long did it take to do this? To do this video?
We could have shot in 2 days, but we ended up shooting in 3 days. And then, I don't know, maybe about a week of editing.
How about the work? Put down the work. How long did it take for all of the artists?
About a month. I want to say from the call in the group and the discussions, about a month, and then we all submitted.
Why did you decide to do it in a video format and not probably everybody come see this act? It will be open for everybody to come and check out. I think I know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think you already know the answer. So. But also, I mean, COVID has been a time that has made us all actually rethink our ways of communication, and in many ways, we're able to reach more people by doing this in this format, you know, outside of Dominica. So,
and if folks want to see the video for themselves, what do they need to search on? And I'll put the information in the drop-down box. So where would they need to search on YouTube to get or to see the video?
So if they're on YouTube, they can either search Race and Racism Video Exhibition, or they can go to my YouTube page, Michael Lee's.
Is it Race and Racism forward?
Race and Racism Video Exhibition. You can just type that in, and it should be the first thing that pops up. And then also, of course, we have it on our Instagram, which is @Kubuli Arts. And we've also shared it on Facebook as well, where we're at Waitikubuli Artists Association.
I'm just trying to put everything. I don't know. I'm typing slow to this. For the YouTube one, and you see the Instagram is
@Kubuli Arts.
Waitikubuli Arts.
Yep.
So this is the information, guys. I forgot it right. My spelling, okay. So this is the information, guys. If you want to check out the video for yourself, guys, well done. Well done. Is all I have to really say. I mean, I think you guys captured a little bit of everything. We had the instance. It must have been by you, man, Michael.
No.
Wow.
Oh, Lord.
You should have seen your face. You should have seen your face.
They're rude.
Right. So kudos to y'all. You saw, as I was saying, you saw a bit of everything, you know, put all together, and it's almost like y'all strategized and said, "No, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna do this," but that wasn't the case.
No, that is all Michael actually, and his fantastic editing skills, and he really like put the video together and took the best of what everybody had to say, in order to make the video exhibition that you see before you. So that's all. That's all, my guy. Oh.
Guys, any final words? Anything that you want to say to your fans, your followers, and if people might want to know if some of the pieces are available for sale or anything you want to.
Well, I would say definitely follow us on social. We have a lot more coming for this year. We're posting what we're up to and what we're creating regularly. You can also visit us at kubuliarts.com, where you'll have profiles for all the different artists and links to our personal pages and everything else like that. I'm going to plug myself at Mike_please. That's my Instagram. I post all my video and photography work there. Yeah, and I guess it'd just be great that everyone tuned in, and hopefully we can continue the conversation on social media.
Anybody else? Or that's it? Michael said it for everybody?
I'm good, yeah, no.
You don't want to plug your accounts?
Plug, if you want to hit me up on Instagram on at EdwardCollins_91. You can see my art. I will be posting the piece that I have in the video on there tonight. So you guys check that out.
And my Instagram for my art is yae.art5. That's yae.art5. It's fairly new, but I'm going to be posting my work up there pretty soon as well.
And
when I come down, I want earrings. I normally just wear gold, but I want something. I hook a sister up. All right?
I was just going to say, if somehow the viewers forget all our different accounts, at least you know at Kubuli Arts, and we post stuff from all the different artists, and we have the website. So
you can connect with us through there.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. And
thanks for having us.
All those of you who came on, and make sure you guys share the live, right? Make sure you guys share so other people on the action. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.